Back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us. We're talking economics with Julio Rivas. He's an economics professor from Lipscomb. The economy and how it's playing out here in Middle Tennessee. I'm wondering, among you, I've talked about certain things that I'm not going to spend more money on as we see inflation. It's just not worth it to me anymore. Maybe that gets the attention of the producers. But I think we're both talking how it doesn't seem as though the consumers are dialing back their spending.
No, I mean, I think consumers are doing their job of consuming, right? I mean, and at this point, well, that's part of the reason why interest rates are going up. You know, it's in economic theory, we will say that's a measure for fighting inflation, right? So let me give you the counter example. You know,
okay.
If you want to fight a recession, you lower interest rates so that people spend more money.
Right.
That's what happened in 2008. You know, we had a Fed funds rate of a quarter of a basis point for a long time. That was happened after COVID. You know,
right.
we want to stimulate the economy. But at this point, the economy is overstimulated, right? A lot of people have money. Probably we have more money than what we should be having, but productivity hasn't gone up as much as our money supply, right?
Yeah.
So this means that people have more money, and there are less and less goods and services to spend your money on. Right?
Yeah.
So
the idea is raising interest rates is almost to say maybe we'll dial back so people don't spend as much. I guess you save money,
yes,
or you're more discriminating on where you shop,
yes,
to look for better values.
That's true. Yeah.
But and one reason people are able to keep spending is it because employment is gotten, you know, coming out of the pandemic, people have jobs, they're working, and they have money. So that's the positive reflection on this.
Yes, that is, and I mean it makes sense, right? If you have a job and if you make money, well, you're going to spend money, right? I mean, that's now. Hopefully people would be, I mean, or ideally people would be saving, people would be investing, people would be putting their money to work. But we know that our economy is consumption driven, right? So we're going to be buying more and more stuff.
So there has to be just a balance on it. Do you think interest rates will go up again?
Yes. Oh yes. I mean, I've been reading a lot because this is an interesting topic for me. You know, and interest rates have gone up, but we are still low compared to our historic rates, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we've been spoiled over many years with these very, very low rates, which, I mean, so it went up 3/4 of a point, was it last week, which was a fairly large jump for the Fed. But you think more interest rate increase just in a way to try to slow down some of the inflation?
Yes. I mean, the Fed has announced that they're going to be having more rates, and a lot of the experts, a lot of the people from Wall Street also think that rates are going to go up, and I agree with that. You know, it's the problem of inflation, of having an 8% or more than 8% inflation. It's something that needs to be deal with as soon as possible, right? Because we simply cannot live with if we have uncertainty about prices, right? I mean, it is harder for us to budget our consumption. It is harder for businesses to know how much are they going to spend, and think about this, right? If there's a lot of inflation, businesses are going to pay more for their supplies, right? Now, what are they going to do to the price that they charge to their customers, right? Well, it needs to go up. By how much, right? I mean, it's if you increase your prices more than the other person, well, you're going to lose business, right?
Right.
So it is a juggling act. You know, there's a lot of things that go on into this and well, we don't want to deal with inflation because inflation creates that uncertainty.
Is that what it is? Because I'm just sitting here thinking, and again, I'm a dummy when it comes to economics, but if we talk about inflation, which I guess means we're seeing prices increase, and people are still paying for those increases, they may not like it, but they're still paying for it, what's the problem? Well, what's the problem? I mean, I'm just saying, I understand eventually, and there are some people who can't, and we don't like paying all that money for chicken wings, but we have a situation here where prices are going up. And just explain to me the economic principle of why that's negative. If prices are going up, we don't like that, but people are still willing to pay it, and they have the money to do it. What's the problem?
Well, the problem is that prices are going to keep on going up. You know?
Okay, so at some point it's going to just get too high.
At some point it's not going to be sustainable, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Now, I'm of the idea that right now it's not sustainable, right?
Okay. I think a lot of people are. It's not sustainable for me for a lot of different products.
Sure.
I think gasoline prices for me are not sustainable, but I have no choice. I have to pay for that.
Yeah, no, and gas, I'm glad you brought this up, because that is probably the most important product that is, in my opinion, out of control right now.
It and chicken wings.
Yes, well, yeah, of course. Chicken wings number one, right? No, gas, but I mean, it's for a lot of people. I was talking to my wife the other day, and it's people that have jobs with lower incomes need to live further out, right? Mm-hmm. So they need to commute to wherever they work, and how much money are they spending on gas every day?
Yeah, because we don't have a mass transit system to get people in here.
Yeah, and it's they're stuck with that, and what happens if gas becomes, 20-30% of your budget? I mean, at what point do you stop coming to work because you cannot afford to come to work?
Right.
In which you're just gonna, whatever you make is gonna go to pay for your gas. So that is going to be an issue. That is going to be an issue.
So what we want to try to do is see if things improve. And by the way, it's not just, a lot of people, and there's a lot of reasons why gasoline prices have gone up. Mm-hmm. It can be politicized, and a lot of people can always blame the president, whether it's Biden now or past administrations. And certainly the president can have a hand in some of the policies that affect gas prices. But the truth is, in every case I've ever seen, from Biden on down, you can't lay it on the doorstep of the president.
Sure.
I mean, you've just talked about the war in Ukraine. Russian oil's out.
Yeah.
That's 30% of the world's supply or whatever.
Yes.
That's all of a sudden gone. That is an impact there.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, the whole world is suffering from this, not just the United States, right? I mean, it's a global economy that's in trouble right now. Europe's having inflation.
Oh, Europe, I mean, their gas prices, they're higher than here.
They always have been.
To begin with, they're higher than here, and now they're even higher for all these issues, and we should not forget, oil markets are global markets, right? So if Russia, or if we stop buying oil from Russia, which produces, let's say, 30% of the world's oil, well, we consume the same amount of oil, but we have 70% available, right?
So the price goes up.
Yeah, that's simple economics. Yeah, it's because it is very hard for us to stop consuming oil. I know we want to transition to clean energies. I know we want to find alternatives, to find different options. But at this point in life, we need oil to survive,
right?
Because we're based on energy. I mean, it's as simple as electronic devices. How many more electronic devices we have today as opposed to 10 years ago or 20 years ago. How do we charge them with electricity? And where does electricity come from? Well,
you need the power. That's part of the rub too. I mean, a lot of people talk about electric cars, right?
Yes.
As we see more, it would be nice if some of the prices of electric cars would come down.
Yeah. Which is another. Okay, if you get an electric car, sure. I mean, how many people can afford an electric car?
Yeah, they're just they need. Yeah, to address that. So, all right, so the gas prices we talked about, okay, the inflation being addressed right now with the interest rates. I'm trying to think of other factors, things that we see here. Nashville's economy and how Nashville stands up. People still want to come. We still draw a huge tourist base.
Yes.
Is the city here to some degree insulated compared to other cities? The impact maybe not being felt quite as hard here, do you think, as in comparable sized cities or even larger ones?
Yeah, well, I say, Nashville is very unique. It has a lot of tourism, but it also has a lot of industries. I would say a lot of jobs in Nashville are and a lot of the jobs that are moving into Nashville are high-paying jobs. So that means that we're getting a lot of people that can afford different things. Having said that, well, we go back to our inflation problem that, how much, more or how much more are we willing to pay for a steak?
Yeah.
And probably, well, if we make more money, we might be willing to pay more for them. So.
And that's right. And they're also paying more for the homes and properties. And the problem with that is the folks who have lived here for years are all of a sudden realizing they're being priced out of the property they're in.
Yes, I mean, it is a reality, right? I mean, unless you have a high-paying job, it is hard for you to keep on living in some of the areas of the city.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard folks. So hardship is hitting now, and that's why we need to bring the prices down. We'll take a break. When we come back, I want you to try to think about this coming back. The definition of recession and how we may be approaching that, or if not. I know the president the other day said recession is not a foregone conclusion, but there are concerns about it. What it means and how that relates to, something that would be awful that would come later, and no one's predicting that, but a depression. Can you imagine that?
No.
We'll be back with more with our guest right after this.
This is a Storm 5.